Well, hey there. Welcome. It's Ashley here from Lovely Commotion. Thank you for joining me this Sunday. I am very glad you're here. I have just a quick little happening today and letting you know that I have done an update to the guide to preschool centers. So I just wanted to share that with you, kind of give you an overview of the changes. And if you've never seen the guide before, then you'll get to learn all about it here. Um, but let's just get started with the fact that center planning can be a little overwhelming, right? When you're running a play based preschool classroom, centers are that core to your program. They are your second teacher. So, carefully planned centers, they're creating that environment for learning through play because, as we know, play is not a break from hard work, play is a child's work. So, sometimes as a teacher, it's kind of hard to wrap your head around all those moving parts of play based centers. It can be a challenge. I know when I first went back to more early childhood setting from my time in first grade, it was like all these questions were swarming in my head. It's like, okay, which centers do I like? Am I supposed to have? Which centers should I have? What are the most common ones people have? Um, I know I need a block center and an art center, but like what else is there? And so then I have these other questions like what do I put in these centers and what materials like should definitely be in there? How long should I even schedule center time for? Like when I'm making my schedule, how long should it be? And I mean, I have other things to do. And so how long do I actually need for free play? And then, as questions normally do, questions lead to more questions. And then you just kind of go down this spiral rabbit hole of questions. Like, can I keep my center materials the same the whole year? Should I be changing them? When should I change them? Won't children get bored? Oh my goodness. And then I just know that feeling so well when it's just like swarming questions and trying to figure it all out. And you're just like, ah, and you just need to stop and take a little break and sort it all out. Well, that sorting it all out side is why I created this guide, because I know exactly how that feels to be having all those questions. And for me, I have to lay things out on paper. I have to organize my thoughts while also researching what's best and making sure that, that best practice that I learned from college is still in there. And I got to make sure I have all the pieces. So that's what I did. That's why I created this guide. And I want it available to all of you, help you too. And so now I'm going to share it with you, but it has had a pretty big update. I have added basically answers or guidance or ideas for those questions that I was just swarming all about. Before, it was a guide that just talked about each center and what you could put in it, and now it has some more added to it. So I'm going to show that to you today. It is a free guide, so I will have the link for you if you are like, oh yeah, I would like to dive deeper into that, or I know someone that this could maybe really help them. Please go grab it, okay? So I like to bind things. It's just some weird thing that I like. Like it just makes me feel like this is just all that much better because it has binding on it. But this is the guide to preschool center. So you will find in here that there is I'm having a hard time turning the pages. There is a contents page. So you can see everything that is included in here and kind of how to jump to it. I apologize, my printer is being lazy or it just needs new ink. I'm not sure, but it didn't do the best of job. Here are all of the centers that we cover in the guide. Obviously, you can have more. Obviously, you can have less. These are just the ones that I chose. There's 10 of them that I chose to go through in this guide. And so each center has its own page, and on the page it has core materials. So these are things that I consider things I keep in there pretty much the whole year. I may add some things in and out. Those aren't listed here. So for example, For my art center, paper, crayons, markers, scissors, glue, stamps, stamp pads, stickers, paint. I have paint out on the easel. I definitely don't just leave it out for, a free for all. Smocks, pieces to glue, like little sequins or little shapes, dot paints. I get out my tempera paint sticks now and again, but these are like the things I make sure I have in my classroom. And then sometimes when the holidays come around, different themes or things like that, I will add in more thematic things. So during the month of February, I added some what we call fancy glue, which is just like red glue with glitter in it. I know you've seen it. They use it a lot to make slime. And so we call that our fancy glue. And the fancy glue is not necessarily for gluing things on, but for decorating it and making our art sparkle. And then there was some heart cutout shapes in there, some heart stickers, some heart foamies. So lots of different things. We also cut up, red ribbon, pink ribbon, put it in there, kind of let them go with it. But that's obviously not a core material. That's something I add in for a while and then take out and do something different. And so what's listed in here are the core materials. And then on the other side, it's the learning goals. And I like to include these because I know in my classroom, I like to have my center sign that talks about what we are learning. And this is great verbiage if you've got some parents that maybe aren't all on board with play centers, or even an administrator that's not all on board, because look at all these amazing things that they can be learning when they are doing art. And so it goes through each center in here. So there's art center, block center, and it's got the core materials and the learning goals there. And, obviously the core materials it's not an extensive list. It's not the end all be all, but it's definitely something to start getting your mind jogging. It's got the writing center, math center. We also have a sensory table. And I love to just keep pretty much all this stuff in a drawer. And then when I, decide on what sensory filler is going to be in there, then I can just go to my drawer and grab out some tweezers or a funnel or, an ice cube tray, things like that. So that's something that's been very helpful for me, is just keeping it all in one drawer. And then depending on the type of material that's in my sensory table, pulling out things for that. Obviously funnels, not everything works with a funnel. Colander, same thing, but it's fun to have those options right there. Literacy center as well. And I do have a Play-Doh center. I love having that out. It's a great quiet area for them. Maybe just a singular, just kind of chilling on my own type of thing. The Science Center, and this is an old picture. I have updated my Science Center quite a bit. The Drama Center, and then it also talks about add-in materials down here, and that's pretty much what I call anything that I push in later. So like my Drama Center, and I'll just kind of explain this little note here. Mine is always in the add-in state. And so it's never just got some core materials. It's got some core furniture. I mean, it has like my kitchen and the table and the market stand, but it never is one thing all the time. And I always have it changing. So like in this picture, it is a house. It's usually what I start with because kids are most familiar with that. Playing house with just having the food and the babies and, all the kitchen stuff and some cleaning supplies. But then we always move on to doing more thematic, whether it's our pumpkin patch, whether it's a spaceship, whether it's, let's see, what else have we done? We've done a cafe, grocery store, doctor's office, all the wonderful, wonderful things. And I have some pretend play props available in my store if that's something that you're looking to expand on. It's just all the printables and some ideas of what you can put in there for different themes. Also, I added in the light center. We are blessed enough to have a light table that we get to keep in our room all the time. And I love it because it just adds another element, another way that they can experiment and learn and manipulate just adding another fun feature through light. And so anything transparent and all the different goals there as well. And then we get into all those questions. So the back part of the guide is really kind of walking you through answering some of those questions. So which centers should I add to or change? And this is just something that obviously you don't have to do it by the book, obviously. But this is just to help kind of guide your thoughts, things that work for me, things that are pretty common, centers that are commonly changed. These might be them. Just as a side note, I don't always change out all my centers. My block center stays pretty close to the same throughout the year. I may add in some different manipulatives time and again and take some out, but most of all that stuff stays because I found that the balance between having a center that is pretty solid, things are staying there all year, giving them a sense of, oh yeah, I know I can always go back there and find the same thing and do the activity that I enjoyed last time, versus giving a change up of something brand new to explore. And so I like having that balance. Not only does it help because they know how to use the block center and they know how to use the art center, it also lessens how much I am changing out. And when everything's new, that can be kind of overwhelming. So, and quite frankly, I think they would revolt if I took away the magnet tiles in the blocks. So some things just stay the same. And so that's what this question is referring to, of like, which ones should I be changing out? And then the next question is, how often should I be changing them out? And so it talks about, this is really an up to you decision, and it gives you some advice on how to judge that as well. And then we get into sample center changes, and these are what I currently do in my classroom. Caveat here, please make sure that you start small when you do your center changes. Do not just jump in and be like, I'm going to change everything every week. You will get burnout so fast, and it will become a chore that you do not enjoy. So make sure that you're starting small, manageable, because if it becomes something you don't want to do, you won't do it. And so we know that center changes can be great for our children, right? We can provide more opportunities because this is their second teacher. But we have to make sure we're doing it in a way that doesn't make us completely burn out and completely just go, oh, I cannot do it by the end of the week, right? So that is why I've included this. So please, though, if you're new to changing out any type of center, please make sure you maybe pick one, maybe two, and decide how often, and then make sure that you just get that under your belt, because this has been multiple years of building myself up to getting good at changing out some of them so I can add another one. And then the bottom is, how long should I have center time for? And this is a great little graphic here based on how long your day is and how many minutes are recommended for the center, for them to actually have free play in centers. So that is good, helpful stuff right there. So go ahead, if you need a guide, go ahead and grab it. There's also information in the back about, give me a second, about the Playful Learners Club. And this is a club that opens twice a year, and it has ready for you center materials in it so that you can change out some of these centers more easily. You're not having to go search for ideas, create things, prep them. You're really missing some of those steps. So that information's in there. There's a link to that as well. When you grab this guide, it'll be in digital form. I just printed it out so you can see it a little better, and you can learn more there. It will be opening again at the end of the school year. So that's something that you can check out too. But if you really know someone, or you yourself are like, oh, it's just swimming in my head, I want to do a better job with it next year, or it's a lot for me to take in. I don't know where to start. I don't know how many minutes I should be doing it. I don't know how often I should be changing it. I'm really hoping that this guide will at least give you a jumping off point, because of course you need to do what's best for you and your students in your center where you are, but I'm hoping this will give you kind of some ideas and just kind of start that train of thought going through and making something that works wonderful for you and your students. So go grab that if you need it. Grab it for a friend. Send them the link, whatever works. And I thank you very much for checking out the Guide to Preschool Centers. I'm hoping it will be of help to you. So I will see you all next week. Bye.